Greetings from the channel again. The subject of today may be the most significant advancement in cryptocurrency that we have ever discussed. As everyone who has followed the Ripple versus SEC story over the past 3 years knows, this was more than just a court case. In the US, it was a battle for the future of digital assets. However, the FIT21 Act, just passed by Congress, contains a clear directive for the SEC to drop its case against Ripple Labs, ending that fight. This isn't a guess. Legislative reality is this. Since Gary Gensler and his anti-crypto campaign have been successfully demolished, Ripple is now free to use, grow, and most importantly, go public. The much-anticipated Ripple initial public offering IPO has finally been confirmed, and it comes with an astounding $100 billion valuation. First, let's examine the political drama that brought us to this point. Representative Patrick McHenry and other prominent members of Congress have been questioning SEC Chair Gary Gensler in high-profile hearings for months, if not years. These sessions weren't only political theater, rather they were strategic takedowns intended to highlight the SEC's excessive power, contradictions, and hostile stance against blockchain technology. As cryptocurrency became into a political hotspot, Gensler was left alone. He intensified enforcement through lawsuits, focusing on companies such as Coinbase, Ripple, and others, in spite of growing congressional pressure. However, since the FI21 Act became law, the balance of power has completely changed. Most importantly, the Act reclassifies XRP as a commodity rather than a security, so nullifying the SEC's case against Ripple. It also clearly delineates the boundaries of what the CFTC and the SEC can control. This reclassification is revolutionary. It immediately eliminates the lawsuit's legal foundation and puts an end to the period of uncertainty that has plagued XRP and Ripple since 2020. With the legal issues being resolved, Ripple is prepared to take its next significant step, the eagerly awaited first public offering. Brad Garlinghouse, the CEO of Ripple, has often made references to going public after regulatory clarification is obtained. Finally, that crucial moment has arrived. According to institutional rumors, leaked documents, and insider information, Ripple has already started the IPO process with the New York Stock Exchange. $100 billion was the desired valuation. To put that into context, Ripple would immediately join the ranks of industry titans like PayPal and Coinbase and rank among the biggest fintech IPOs in history. However, Ripple's business plan is much more comprehensive. In addition to being a payments company, Ripple also offers infrastructure, liquidity solutions, and is the issuer of XRP, one of the most scalable and liquid digital assets available today. This is the section that's causing a stir in the financial community. A significant change in the way banks and other organizations see digital assets is centered on XRP. Despite not owning any shares in Ripple, XRP holders' success is strongly correlated with the company's future and the wider uptake of its technology. The environment surrounding XRP is significantly impacted by Ripple's success, which affects everything from its market value to its practicality. Many commentators contend that XRP holders are stockholders by proxy, reaping the benefits of Ripple's expansion and innovation not legally, but in terms of the network's growing reach, value, and influence. Demand, visibility, and the likelihood of widespread adoption are all important factors. A $100 billion public firm, Ripple would give XRP credibility, liquidity, and a fresh round of investor interest. The two are linked together. Every new market that Ripple enters, every corridor that it widens, every institutional customer that joins RippleNet, and every collaboration that Ripple signs all contribute to the adoption story of XRP. All of them expand XRP's demand and use case, increasing its significance in the global financial system. This leads us to the following noteworthy development that is generating media attention in the business. An important turning point for XRP and Ripple is the final adoption of US banks. Now that the SEC's litigation has been resolved and regulations are clear, the door is open for widespread financial adoption. To test the waters for wider integration, a number of significant financial institutions have discreetly started or continued trial initiatives with Ripple. We're discussing some of the most well-known names in international finance, including Bank of America, Citibank, and even JP Morgan. These organizations have been experimenting with Ripple's technology for years, considering how it might transform international payments. However, they waited until the ideal opportunity and avoided legal danger and regulatory uncertainty. Now that Congress has given its approval, the gloves are off and XRP appears to have a bright future. Ripple's XRP-powered on-demand liquidity infrastructure is being tested for treasury management, cross-border payments, and international settlements. The most influential banks in the world are implementing these real-world use cases. This is not theoretical. Let's talk about the numbers. The financial tide has turned. Ripple's $100 billion IPO value has significant ramifications for the price of XRP and is more than just a news story. As the lawsuit is over, institutional adoption is accelerating, and a high-profile initial public offering, IPO, is imminent. Many predict that XRP will reach $500 or more in the upcoming years. Why $500? It is straightforward economics. The technology of Ripple is based on XRP. As demand for Ripple's infrastructure increases, XRP will be used more frequently for settlements and liquidity. XRP has a limited amount of 100 billion tokens, most of which have been burned or locked up. Price pressure increases as a result of the demand-supply imbalance. The road to institutional adoption is now clear, after the SEC eliminated the largest barrier. Let's pause to consider how far we've come as a community that has persevered through every adversity together, as well as a business. A year or two ago, XRP was written off as a failed project, delisted from major exchanges, and subjected to daily media attacks. Despite the unrelenting headlines and the bleak outlook, Ripple persisted. XRP did not vanish. Rather, Ripple retaliated in court, expanded its worldwide payment networks, and established alliances with central banks in Southeast Asia and the Middle East. The groundwork for a more robust and interconnected financial environment was established by these initiatives. The US market is now opening up significantly, generating fresh chances for expansion and innovation, as Washington has finally backed off and provided clarity. We're not finished yet though. The road is far from over, and there is still a great deal more to accomplish. In addition to paving the way for Ripple, the FIT21 Act lays the groundwork for a completely new cryptocurrency economy in the US that is based on openness, confidence, and progressive regulation. It provides the sector with the clarity it has long sought by defining which assets are subject to the SEC or CFTC. It creates a framework for public token offers, DeFi protocols, and stable coins, allowing for innovation to thrive while safeguarding investors and customers. In summary, it restores order to chaos and eliminates the regulatory ambiguity that has impeded advancement and slowed innovation for far too long. This action will be remembered as the US's decision to support blockchain technology rather than oppose it. A pivotal moment that will influence finance for many generations to come. As we wrap up, let's review the key advancements influencing the direction of digital banking. The conclusion of the SEC's case against Ripple marks a significant turning point for the cryptocurrency sector. A new era for blockchain technology in the US has begun with Congress's decision to embrace innovation. With an ambitious $100 billion aim that is drawing interest from investors worldwide, Ripple's first public offering, IPO, is now formally underway. In order to increase efficiency and streamline international payments, major institutions are increasingly implementing RippleNet's technology. Now that XRP is back in the spotlight, it is gaining traction and attracting new institutional and individual investors. Additionally, price projections are rapidly increasing, with analysts seeing even larger profits as adoption picks up speed. This is the time you've been waiting for. If you own XRP, your patience might finally be paying off. It's important for those who are new to cryptocurrency to pay attention and begin learning about the opportunities that are currently being presented. A daring new chapter in the history of digital assets has just begun, and Ripple is spearheading this exciting future. We appreciate your participation in our expanding community and your attention to this thorough analysis. Please remember to like, subscribe, and enable notifications if you thought this video was helpful.